Alright, mga kaibigan, as usual, medyo masikip na naman po ang mga upuan dito sa Arleta Coliseum na punong-puno na naman para sa Game 6 na labanan ng Purefoods Chunkee Giants at ng Red Bull. Bago po natin umpisahan, ay umpisa naman natin mga report sa Purefoods. Muna tayo, Richard Del Rosario, report!
Thank you very much, Ed. At alam mo, dito sa Purefoods, two of the biggest reasons bakit they're only one game away from winning this championship has been their pillars of strength inside the paint. At walang iba, kundi yan yung mga fearless forwards ng Purefoods na si Kirby Raimundo at si Mark Pingris. Ito, makikita natin yan, si Kirby Raimundo. Here, in the final series, medyo masama nagiging shooting niya. He's only shooting about 36.4% from the field. Actually, in the last game, he only scored 9 points, but he's made up for it in other departments. On the other hand, ito rin naman si Mark Pingris has been a bundle of energy para sa Purefoods Chunkee Giants, getting a lot of points off the offensive rebounds. At sinabi ni assistant coach Ronnie Magsano, itong si Kirby Raimundo, ang kailangan lang sa kanya is to put him in a better scoring position to try and exploit this matchup with a smaller defender na binibigay sa kanya ng Red Bull. And they're hoping that these two gentlemen will step up big tonight for them to be able to bring home the crowd. Samantala, punta naman natin si Jason at ang balita niya tungkol sa Red Bull Barako.
Alam mo, Richard, kung ang Red Bull ay kung ang Purefoods ay may fearless forwards, ito namang Red Bull, meron rin silang fear. And one of that fears is itong si Lordy Tugade, tila bumababa ang laro. Kung masisilip nyo, yung kanyang first 3 games, Lordy Tugade was averaging 23 points. And all of a sudden, pagdating ng games 4 and 5, there you go. Pagdating ng games 4 and 5, bumaba yung scoring ni Lordy Tugade down to 8 points. So, marami nagtataka kung injured nga ba to si Lordy Tugade. Kaya tinanong ko si Lordy kung injured siya. At ang sabi ni Lordy Tugade, oo. Pero matagal na pala tong injury ni Lordy Tugade sa tuhod. In Game 5, he actually felt the best in a long time. It just so happened that in that day, he just wasn't playing well. Tinanong ko naman si Coach Yang Giao, and good news coming from Coach Yang Giao because he said that if there's a couple of players that he expects a big game from, it's Lordy Tugade. Back to you guys.
Well, that really is something that a lot of people are wondering about. Actually, I talked to team consultant Andy Howe about it. Tinanong ko si Coach Andy, parang Andy, sabi ko, may injury ba si Lordy Tugade? But, well, as he said, wala naman daw injury si Lordy Tugade. It was just one of those off nights. Maybe 2 of those, because he had back-to-back off nights. But he's starting for Red Bull tonight, together with Paulo Bugia and Rico Villanova, Matapos Robinson, and Cyrus Baguio. Kapag naman ang Purefoods Chunkee Giants, we got Roy Castillo, James Yap, Julian Lupot, Kirby Raimundo, and Mark Pingris. What say you about the starting units, Coach North?
Well, some changes in the starting unit. Cyrus Baguio starting tonight for Red Bull. Last time out it was Larry Fonacher who started off. And on the other side, we have a change in the starting lineup for Purefoods, and Roy Castillo is starting off for Coach Ryan Gregorio.
It takes 2 to tango. Probably, you know, sinasabi ni Coach Ryan Gregorio, if Yang Giao can be unpredictable, so can I. So, kaya yan pumasok si Roy Castillo sa starting unit. Oh, our guest, Coach Norman.
Heading by there from the New York Knicks. Very young player, an up-and-coming superstar in the NBA. It's about 6'10".
Mga bisita natin, mga kaibigan, galing sa NBA at si Andre Iguodala.
Yes, from the Philadelphia 76ers, also a very young player. Both of these guys from the University of Arizona. And of course, you might remember Andre because he was the star of the slam dunk contest last time out. Despite the fact he didn't win the contest, he did a dunk that probably nobody else wants to try.
Para sa Purefoods, narito ang kanilang starting unit. Kasi James Yap, Julian Lupot, Kirby Raimundo, and Mark Pingris. At napag-isa po natin itong Red Bull will also have Lordy Tugade, Matapos Robinson, Cyrus Baguio, Rico Villanova, and Paulo Bugia.
A jam-packed Araneta Coliseum.
One more. Oh, no. That was a violation by Purefoods. Our referees for this game, Boy Cruz, Noel Killigan, and Garchi Ferrer. He's another guy that we would like to see explode for Red Bull. He hasn't done that. And he's talking about Cyrus Mario. He just gave an assist to Lordy Tugade.
Well, that was a well set up play coming out of the beginning of this basketball game with Tugade, probably to get him off to a good start.
A nice setup job for Team Deport likewise. And Cyrus Mario tapped that ball away from Kirby. They moved to Topex Robinson into the front court. Get it must be Cyrus Mario. Mario looking inside. Nobody there.
When you get a chance, take a look at who's guarding Topex Robinson. Amongst 5 fingers.
And he almost showed up 5 fingers there. Niliwanag yung bola ng ring. And it is a 2-0 lead here para sa Red Bull. It's early going. Boy Castillo, getting a good change up down low to Kirby. Raymundo gets it down. Couple of pump fakes and the shot.
Well, Kirby getting the offensive rebound and following it up with a 2 points. Let's see how this matchup shapes up here as Mark Fingers out here guarding Totex Robinson. Such a versatile player. He can guard a center or a point guard.
And the offensive foul
number 15
on Lordy Tugade.
Is first.
All right, we have 10 minutes and 49 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. At nakaga po ang ating score at 2-all. Boy Castillo working against Topex Robinson. Third and move against Lordy Tugade. The pass is shot stolen by Enrico Villanova. That goes to Cyrus Baggio. He likes it. And there is a tap from Jim before the ball goes out of bounds. Nice touch on Cyrus Baggio.
Yeah, Cyrus Baggio moving 100 miles per hour, lost the basketball. And you can bet that Coach Yangal wants his team to get off to a good start. What he does not want to see is for Purefoods to break away here at the beginning of the game.
Which is what Purefoods was able to do a couple of times in this series when they swamped Red Bull at the outset.
You heard the interview before the game. Coach Yangal is very confident that he can win a close game against Purefoods. Just wants to keep this game close.
That's the battle cry for Red Bull. As you look at Topex Robinson disrupting the play there. Pass by June Dupont, not the Kalabas, the Topex Robinson. And Purefoods has 12 seconds to execute the play.
Well, Lordy Tugade is actually the one guarding Kirby Raymundo, so I'm sure that's where Purefoods is going to go with their offense.
Does a hand down to June Dupont. Technical pass by Douglas through the field. June Dupont fires. With no time on the shot clock. James Yup trying to put it back in. Yes, first 2 points for the MVP, James Yup.
All 4 of Purefoods points coming off of offensive rebounds.
And that's another area that we talked about, Coach Norman. And the rebounding story for Purefoods. They've got a lot of offensive rebounds. That's what I said. Still, as Tugade slashes through again. And Tugade has only the 4 points of Red Bull.
Well, Lordy answering the questions very early here, whether he's hurt or not.
And he's also got his hands full on the other side, defending against Kirby Raymundo. And Jim Dupont is going to be called for a 3-second violation as he was unable to get around Tyler Begia na siya naman nagbabantay sa kanya sa ilalim.
Well, good physical defense there by Paulo Begia, forcing Julian off his spot.
Tabla po tayo at 4-all here in the first quarter. Cyrus Baggio, naman sa Enrico Villanova. Naman si Lordy Tugade. Villanova can't get it to him. Cyrus Baggio against Noy Castillo goes to spin. And they're going to call the foul on Noy Castillo. Always personal on Castillo.
Is first. First team foul on the Chunkee Dragons.
Topex Robinson maglalabas ng bola para sa Red Bull. Paulo Begia at top of the key. Naman naman si Lordy Tugade. Up against James Yup. Tugade, good fake. And he lets it fly, no good. Take it in dito para sa rebound. Out na Noy Castillo. Castillo, binibigyan ng kanyang mga kasama. Binibigyan kay Mike Pickles, but Topex Robinson is again there to break up the play. Robinson. Out to Villanova. Rico against Jim Dupont. Mahina. And the loose ball picked up by Noy Castillo in the backcourt. Castillo brings it up. Going to James Yup against Tugade. And Rico Villanova breaks up the play.
Yes, Red Bull showing very quick hands here at the beginning of the game, deflecting a lot of passes. And going back to what you mentioned about the rebounding, it's so important for Red Bull to control their defensive boards.
And that's how they can run. They can start to run.
You know, Mark Peters is averaging over 6 offensive rebounds a game in this game.
James Scott! Sinigit na sa area bola! And it is a 2-point lead para sa Purefoods Chunkee Giants. One-hander from Paolo Bugia. Wala. Pivoting over for the rebound. Bigay kay James Yap. James Yap pinapatay na Topex Robinson. June Lipot versus Paolo Bugia. Mark Fingers. At the Fingers Mundo makes his move. Nice pass back to Mark Fingers. No good. Rebound, June Lipot. Dilabas mo na kay Castillo. That's 24 hit para sa Purefoods. James Yap. Binibigyan na sa Topex Robinson. Oh, Castillo is open! Tres! Isa na number 2. Tres para sa pinalakas na TM. Power to the people.
Red Bull extending on defense really opened it up for Noy to get that 3-point shot.
There's been no production in this ball game. Lordy Tagadas. Rico Villanueva makes his move inside. Our goal is now good. The top. Up to Mark Fingers and Castillo. There's the bounce pass to Jun Lipot off the break. Transition play by Purefoods. Jun Lipot answering it. Can't give a limit. And it is a 7-point lead by Purefoods. And a 30-second timeout is called by Red Bull. Samantala, ito naman yung nangyari kanina as James Yap got head in. Now libre naman si Noy Castillo with a TM3 sa teacher na pinalakas na TM. Power to the people. Mga kaibigan, this is Game 6 of the Best of 7 Championship Series. Purefoods leading 3 games to 2. And this is their second opportunity to finish up the job and wrap up the championship. Of course, Red Bull has other things in mind once again. Isip po na itong Purefoods in game number 5. They'd like to do it again tonight. And a big stop here by Purefoods, leading by 7 now. After only about 5 minutes of play. Marty Tagada pinanda. And Jim Lipot will pick up that foul, his first.
Purefoods is stepping off hard against pick and roll. That time June Lipot did get the foul. Coach Mangal must be concerned here. He does not want to see his team get down early in this basketball game. On the other side, Chris Ryan's quite happy that that last 2 minute off last game has not affected him so far.
What a shot there, what a try by Cyrus Baggio. It didn't go, but he did. Castillo now with 2.
A lot of times with Coach Ryan, Ed, because of the way you lost the last game, you were winning almost the entire game. In the last 2 minutes, you kind of lost it. You have to be concerned on how it affects the mental state of your players, but it looks like Purefoods is really ready to go here tonight.
They've come out strong here in the first quarter, and Red Bull will have to try and match their intensity if they want to make a game of this and if they want to keep their hopes alive of extending this series to its fullest on Sunday. Pero malayo pa yan. Sa first quarter pa lang tayo, 2 shots by Cyrus Baggio. Puts the lead down to 5 at 11-6. James Yap. Sumaksak sa loob. One hand by James Yap.
And you have to have big hands to be able to finger roll like that from the baseline.
What has that is such a big shot here by the MVP. Nice pass and play here. Paolo Bugia, however, held in by, or intimidated by Mike Pinglis. Because Mike Pinglis has had a reputation of swatting balls away, especially in this series. So that probably gave Paolo Bugia a second chance.
Well, there's sometimes you have to go straight up. That time, Paolo Bugia should have gone straight up with the basketball instead of pump faking.
There's the top, and it's one out by June Lipot. That is a Purefoods Chunkee Giants. He gets it to the front court. June Lipot. Binigay kay Pedro Raimundo. Raimundo matras lamang kay Lordy Tagada. Then, and the back by Pedro Raimundo. Alalahanin po natin, 9 points lang ang ginawa nito si Pedro Raimundo. Of course, Dito pa dapat sinasabi lang, ano? Pero a lot more expected naman. Travis Bago, almost, not quite. Ito na naman si James Yap, tuloy-tuloy. Back to the basket shot. Jun Lipot with the offensive board. Napalpal na palo Mugia. Here comes Tobex Robinson and nabago ni Ray Castillo. Robinson inside. And the layup is good. Dalawa ang ganda sa harapan niya. Mas malalaki sa kanya. But Robinson still found a way to score.
How about the little guy shooting over two big guys right there in the paint?
Precisely. The Purefoods lead is 7 as a kanilang bola on Castillo. The bounce pass to Pedro Raimundo. Raimundo goes to Rico Villanueva. Oh, what a pass to Mark Pinglis! A pass by Pedro Raimundo to Mark Pinglis inside.
And Coach Yao has to be concerned with the points in the paint. Purefoods, the majority of their points are all coming right inside that paint area. So they will have to do a better job defensively.
Even James Robbins scoring on layups. One of our topics, Robinson trying to score against Jun Lipot, Pedro Raimundo, and Mark Pinglis combined underneath the basket.
That's the tenacity that you know the Red Bull Club is known for. The littlest man in the floor is the one penetrating the lane for Red Bull.
As Tobex Robinson picked up a foul from Mark Pinglis, his first, and Robinson at the line. Sabi ko nga kanina, tatlong palaki ang kinalaban ni Tobex Robinson. Sinamo niya si Pedro Raimundo, si Mark Pinglis, at si Jun Lipot. And the foul from Pinglis. 1 of 2 by Tobex, and the lead is 8 out of the Purefoods. Mark Pinglis, Fernandez. Nice handoff to Pedro Raimundo, good fake.
Nice acrobatic move there by Kevin Raimundo to finish that play. And another inside the paint point for the Purefoods team.
Those handoffs between the Purefoods players are killing Red Bull. Field goal scoring. 5 of 16 for the Giants. And another miss here by Red Bull. Here comes Roger Yap, who's in the ball game for the first time. Binigay kay Pedro Raimundo. Raimundo to Mark Pinglis. Ginabas kay James Yap. Tobex Robinson na babagay sa kanya. He misses the shot. And the rebound. There's going to be a loose ball foul. Is it on Pinglis?
Loose ball foul, number 15, Mark Pinglis.
Yes. That's number 2 on him.
Well, he had Larry Punisher trying to box him out, so he tried to get to the offensive boards. I was really surprised James Yap did not dump that ball right back into Mark Pinglis, who is being guarded by Larry Punisher.
They leave Tobex Robinson open. And the rebound taken by Roger Yap. It was just too tempting for Tobex Robinson. Roger Yap. 3 minutes and 53 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Yan po naman ng Purefoods 10. Curving inside. Offline and out. Cyrus Bago nakita si Larry Punisher. Punisher tuloy-tuloy. Pinagtalo James Yap.
Looked like he was flipped there on the arm. Instead, the ball goes the other way for Purefoods.
And then Roger Yap. James. Curving. Back to James Yap with the open shot. You know, he can shoot over a guy. That time he was wide open. TM Presian. Mula sa pinalakas na TM. Power to the people.
That really hurts Red Bull. They had a layup on one end. They didn't make it. And Purefoods comes back and hits a three-pointer.
Here's Enrique Villanueva. Trying to go hard against Jun Lipot, and he draws another foul to the consternation of Coach Ryan Gregorio. That's going to be number 2. Enrique Villanueva has given 2 charities on account of the second personal foul on Jun Lipot. You can tell, Coach Norman, that majority of the people here in the Coliseum are fans of Purefoods. They smell a championship tonight.
Well, actually, that's been the case throughout this series. A lot of Purefoods fans have come out to support their team. Of course, Red Bull has their share of fans here, but the majority of the Coliseum seems to be for the Chunkee Giants.
Bandana Enrique Villanueva makes both. And it catches the lead of Purefoods on Bandana 11 at 22-11, 3:05 to go in the first quarter.
And Red Bull, they're going to be in a 1-2, 1-1, 3-quarter trap, and they're going to have to try to find a way to shut down that lane area, keep Purefoods out of the middle.
Here comes Roger Yap. Takes it inside. Ooh, nowhere to go.
Well, that might be the answer. Nick Tennessee, who stepped over to distract Roger Yap.
They did a good job of it. 2:51 to go in the first quarter. We have this timeout. Alright, nakasalukuyan mga kaibigan, over 12,000 souls have come into the Araneta Coliseum. Marami pa pumapasok at hindi po kasali dyan yung mga libre. Over 12,000 people inside the Araneta Coliseum at the moment.
At the moment,
At the moment. They're still coming in. And here coming in on misses. Favorite for the rebound. Purefoods on top by 11. First quarter pa lamang.
On the other side, Red Bull really bleeding for their points inside the paint area. Purefoods is really ganging up on defense.
And it's obvious that Red Bull also wants to score inside, but they've not had quite the kind of success that Purefoods has had. Although that time Mike Fingers missed the shot. Shalina Cruz is now the point guard. Ooh! Block! That's James Rapp's second shot block in the first quarter.
Well, Shalina Cruz had blown by James Yap. He didn't know James Yap was still trailing him on that play.
He got caught. Nick Tennessee with the best game Sanders Baggio.
Three-point field goal. Chunkee Giants 2 out of 3. And Red Bull has not attempted a three-point shot yet.
We're just curious. Oh, there's one. Cyrus Baggio. What up?
Very low shooting percentage for Red Bull in this first quarter.
It held down to 11 points, and we only have a minute and 46 to go for this quarter. Turnaround jumper by Kirby is good.
More points in the paint for Purefoods, as now they're attacking this zone defense that Red Bull has put up.
And Raimundo already has 8 points in the game. Cyrus Baggio sees a small opening. Pinaliwa, malakas. And Mark Fingers para sa Richard Yee at the rebound. Here comes Roger Yap zigzagging to the front court. I guess he zigzagged too much.
A little bit too much. The ball went out of bounds.
He zigged and he zagged and he lost it on the zag. A minute and 20 to go. First quarter. At 13 ang kalamangan nitong Purefoods Chunkee Giants. Pumasok na si Junpei Valenzuela para sa Red Bull at si Vito Jun Simota.
Blocks in the game. Chunkee Giants with 4 so far. Red Bull with 2.
Traveling on Nick Tennessee. So 65 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. And we were saying, as we keep saying every time these two teams play, Red Bull cannot afford to be left behind by Purefoods in the early going. They'd like to keep it close, but it's anything but close at the moment.
No, that all started because Nick Tennessee had to pick up Simone on the outside, and of course, too fast for Nick Tennessee. And once he penetrated, everybody started helping on defense, and now Roger Yap is on the line for 2.
So Danny Purefoods ginawa ka na with a personal foul. Roger Yap makes the first.
If you're Red Bull, you just don't want to dig a hole for yourself here in the first half and then have to really use up so much energy to get back into the basketball.
Roger Yap of Cebu City making it a 26-11 count. Barako has not scored in over 2 minutes now. Out of his Danny Purefoods trying to kick it out to Nick Tennessee, and the open shot para kay Junpei ayaw pa rin. Richard Yee para sa rebound for Purefoods. Here's Roger Yap. Bigay kay Kobe Raimundo. Nothing going here para sa Red Bull. They've been scoreless in over 2 minutes, as we mentioned earlier. And they're closing in on the last few moments of the first quarter. Long three-pointer. Ooh, Nick Tennessee, they surely needed that. Isang TM twist mula sa pinalakas na TM power to the people.
That was a huge hit there by Nick Tennessee. And of course, Red Bull with fouls to give as GT
does give up the personal foul. James Yap, yes.
Only the second team foul for Red Bull.
So magkana babalik muli si June Lipot. Papalitan niya si Kirby Raimundo with only 4.3 seconds remaining here in the first period. So time for one last play here para sa Purefoods. Roger Yap.
Good foul there by Salino Cruz.
Only foul at number
Red Bull still can give at least 2 more fouls.
13 foul of Red Bull.
2.2 seconds left in the first quarter. The order of the day is to prevent Purefoods from scoring any more points with that much time remaining. Roger Yap goes up. Aray ko! Aray. Wow. That's one big aray there, Coach Norman.
So Larry Parnaschiere was just a little bit too close on that play. You can see Roger Yap is going to jump forward and right into the defense of Larry Parnaschiere. Larry's going to Larry's going to pick up the foul.
And about a shot here by Roger Yap.
That's exactly what Red Bull did not want to see happen.
Exactly. Roger Yap playing out of the University of San Jose Recoletos in Cebu. Yes, he completes it. Wow, 16-point lead by Purefoods over Red Bull. Chad Reyes, how do you see the ball game at the moment?
Purefoods is completely outshooting Red Bull. But more than the shooting, what would bother me if I'm Coach Yang Giao is that I've given up 30 points in the first quarter and Purefoods is not running. I think the name of the game for Purefoods in the series has been really control. They don't want to get into an all-out running game with Red Bull. And yet they gave up without scoring in transition. Purefoods scored 30 points. That's got to be the big problem in Coach Yang Gao's mind right now. How to hold off that the scoring of Purefoods, how to improve their defense.
All right, thank you, Coach Chad. Here, Salino Cruz having some problems also against June Simon to compound their woes. And it's natin that Purefoods seem to have an easy time of it initially in layups, but then they also started to score from the outside. So what do you do?
Well, Purefoods did have three-point shots in that first quarter as the ball goes out of bounds. It's still going to be with the Red Bull team. But in that first quarter, Ed, Purefoods shot 52%, Red Bull 20%, and Purefoods 20 rebounds. Red Bull only 8. So the energy problem may be showing its ugly head again for Red Bull if they're really not taking care of their defensive boards.
At this time, Roger Yap sticking too close to Junti Valenzuela. He will pick up, Roger Yap will pick up his first personal foul.
His first.
At sa unang minuto po tayo mga kaibigan ng ating second quarter. At wala pong diferensya yung mga TV. Talagang yun ang score. And look at, this is what we were mentioning, Coach Norman.
20% for Red Bull as Larry Parnaschiere misses from the outside. Tennessee with the rebound and he scores.
Rick Glazer now starting to assert himself coming off the bench para sa Red Bull. At giving them a big lift. Here's a trapping defense again by Red Bull. Trying to stymie the offense of the Purefoods Chunkee Giants and trying to delay their entry to the front court. Pero ito mabilis yung makagawa ng sitwasyon ng mga taga-Purefoods. Richard Lee napatigan pero may sundot daw sabi ni Coach Roger ni referee Bob Cruz. Salino Cruz.
Once again, Purefoods finding it so easy to get into that lane area though, as Richard Yee just took one hard dribble and Salino Cruz had no other choice but to reach in on that play. It looked like Richard Yee was headed straight to the basket.
That's right. June Lipot. Maatras. Habang kay Mike Rayback. Lipot makes his move. Whoa! Good shot by June Lipot. And once again, Purefoods ups the lead to 16 points. Good blitz. Junti Valenzuela is setting it. Oh! Shot block! Back figures! Tumahan rin si Roger Yap. Tuloy-tuloy! He goes up. He's blocked by Mike Rayback. Salino Cruz gets it over to Junti Valenzuela. Valenzuela gets June Lipot. The layup is good. That's the play by Junti.
And great defense on both ends of the basketball court for both teams.
9 minutes and 56 seconds to go in the second quarter. Get a big lead here para sa Purefoods Chunkee Giants. Hoping to end this one tonight. They failed to do that last Wednesday. And Red Bulls looking to disappoint them again this Friday. Roger Yap on the outside. Larry Pinochet has it. Binigay kay Selena Cruz. Selena Cruz wait for Mike Rayback. Binigay kay Vic Perez is open. Wala. And June Lupet gets the rebound para sa Purefoods. Roger Yap sinasenya sa play number 1 para sa Chunkee Giants. Para po sa Selena Cruz. Lumalabas si Peter June Simon. Simon against Larry Pinochet. Simon, low baseline. Di makatira sa ilalim. Binigay kay Roger Yap. Yap inside! Penguins!
What a goal!
Reverse layup! Penguins over! Ron Penguins, the most improved player in 2006.
Well, you can see the Red Bull defense just stop on that play as they actually lost their men when Simone drove to the baseline and there was nobody there underneath the basket.
And mayhem broke loose on the defense of Red Bull as Mike Penguins got that spectacular layup off. Dito makikita natin.
You can see there Larry Punisher and Nick Pennisy not knowing who to guard there. Mark Penguins taking advantage of it.
And Pennisy just played too late to try and stop him.
Mark Penguins has had a great year coming from the Air 21 team. Has found a home here with the Chunkee Giants.
He's looking like he's really at home. Jutu Venezuela reaches for the fly. Still can't find the basket. Jutu once again, malakasan. And Jutu has the easy rebound.
Red Bull's very tight shooting the basketball here in the game so far.
Tight is the word. And Castillo looking at Kirby football. June Dupont. Going to get the Peter June Simon. Simon goes up. Manila. Here's June Venezuela. Para sa Red Bull. 8 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Pinalik kay June Venezuela. Pinira sa tayo sa labas. Yes! P.A. Wala sa pinalakas na team. Power to the people.
That's confidence for you as GT just shot an air ball on the previous play and comes back and hits a three-pointer.
And he cuts the lead somewhat down to 13. At 34-21. Kirby. Cross to Pinoy Castillo. Open shot! Open the ball in now. But easy for the rebound. Out to Selena Cruz. Selena Cruz pulls up against Pinoy Castillo. Cross to Juju Venezuela. Titira na naman si Kirby. Ayun. And Castillo. 7.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Castillo signaling the play para sa Purefoods Chunkee Giants. Mark Penguins. Kirby gets it over to Castillo. Open shot for Peter June Simon. And Penisi has another rebound. Now Pinochet sees Chunkee Venezuela out ahead. And he is fouled. And one. Yes, I see the June Simon. Chunkee Venezuela has 7 points in the game coming off the bench by the Red Bull tonight. That's the rebound by Mick Penisi and Larry Pinochet with good recognition.
That's a great pass there by Larry Pinochet. Not going for the basketball.
Yeah. So what's this? It's his second personal foul. Juju Venezuela will get.
He has a chance for a three-point play, and Red Bull will retain the basketball because of that foul.
And that's to take up out of Red Bull. 7-11 second quarter. And the Purefoods lead is 10 points. Then again, they're trying to go to James Yap para kay Peter June Simon.
You can feel Red Bull grinding away here, trying to get back into this basketball game before the halftime.
Well, that's the way they did it back in Game 5. They did it silently but effectively. Larry Pinochet double team. Nick Penisi is open. No. Larry Pinochet trying to get the rebound back, but he loses it to the baseline. And about 7:02 to go. Dito sa ating second quarter. And our Mentos extreme habang move off the game. And on the rebound play here, may foul na tatawagin niya. Could be on Larry Pinochet.
That's right, Larry Punisher trying to box out on the play. Actually went under Kirby Ramundo. He's going to pick up the foul.
That's going to be number 3 on him. Number 3 on Larry Punisher. Al Castillo tratado ng play para sa Purefoods. Toby Raimundo. Binigay kay Mark Pringles. Palakas. Dari po na siya para sa rebound. Binigay kay Chunkee Valenzuela. El Solino Cruz will pick it up para sa Red Bull. Chunkee Valenzuela.
The faster the better.
Yeah, that's what you talked about. But
Second quarter, actually, Red Bull up 5 in that category.
that's right. A little tentative on that move.
Substitute to the Red Bull. York Morales for Danny Fletcher and Nico Villanova for Mark Williams.
At mga higara diha sa Cagayan de Oro. Ayong gabi ninyo, labi na sa atong amigong former World Junior Lightweight Champion Rene Barrientos at mga amigo diha sa Cagayan de Oro sa atong tunay diha, Governor Oscar Moreno. Salamat kayo. Mike Pick is blocked by Finisi.
As a foul on Kirby Raimundo coming over the top. Red Bull was in a boxing one on that last play.
Enrico Villarreal is back. Villarreal looking around. He's inside. Nick Finisi is open. And he chooses to attack. And the hook shot by Nick Finisi. He now has 7 points. To go with 5 rebounds.
Smart play there by Nick Tennessee. Using the dribble to get a little bit closer to the basket for that jump hook. Chunkee Giants have not scored in the last 3 minutes.
Sila naman yun ang inalat. And Kirby Raimundo confronted with a turnover, although he claims that he was somehow bumped there.
And notice the defense of Red Bull now shutting down the middle. Nick Tennessee has had a lot to do with that for his size and really taking away a lot of easy baskets that Purefoods was getting in the first quarter.
Serena Cruz cover the ball Arcadi. Chunkee Valenzuela. Valenzuela makes his move to the basket with Finisi. Finisi back to Chunkee from the side. Malakas na naman. Serena Cruz side to the line. And the ball goes out of bounds. It will stay with Red Bull.
Substitute to the
Really had something to do with saving the basketball for his team, getting inside for that offensive rebound.
Umabot po kanina lamang ng 16. Dalo na lang. Big shot block again by Mark Pingles. And Paul Arcadi is fouled by Selena Cruz.
holding foul, number
Good what Mark Pingles does when he blocks the shots. He does not really come down with his arm. Instead, he just catches you up top. And a lot of times, most of his shot blocks are kept in bounds. So he's not really throwing them out of bounds. He has a chance to recover his shot blocks.
So to call the payong shot block. The umbrella. Meantime, Selena Cruz also picked up his 3rd personal foul. Mark Pingles has it. Kirby Raimundo. Raimundo working against Chunkee Valenzuela with the fancy pass. At the big team, Nick Finisi to Chunkee Valenzuela. Valenzuela to the front court. Valenzuela gets it over to Nick Finisi with a 3-point shot. Not there. And the loose ball picked up by James Yap. James Yap into the front court. Against the board Arcadi. Arcadi signals play number 1. 4.5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
There's no question. Red Bull, they're definitely in a boxing one, and they're boxing this guy with the basketball, James Yap.
Oh, do what you want. But James Yap will still score. He's got 11 points now. Selena Cruz, that's it up to Enrico Villanova. Pero que Chunkee Valenzuela con el 3-point shot. Yay! Good push. Mula kay Chunkee mula sa pinakakas na PM. Power to the people.
Red Bull, they're really good. Maybe got that 3-point shot here in the second quarter, and that's what actually what Purefoods is giving them.
Well, you did mention that they needed to shoot better from the 3-point line. One of the shot blocks of Mike Pingles. And the foul is going to be called on Lord Itigande.
Rocky foul, number
Speaking of shot blocks, I also counted at least 2 from James Yap in the first quarter.
substitute to the Red Bull.
Samantala, we've got a couple of substitutions here guys. A red goal from si Topex Robinson at later si Troy Bago. Si Topex muna for Selena Cruz.
Yeah, Selena Cruz has 3 fouls in the game, so he's going to take a rest. He is the one guarding Kirby Raimundo.
Right. Topex Robinson helps out. On the swing over to the other side. Would have left the ball and body open. And Topex Robinson picks up his first personal foul. He had just come in for Selena Cruz, who picked up his 3rd. Ngayon naman, si Lodi Tugade papalitan na Cyrus Bobby sa panig ng Red Bull.
Well, both teams now with 14 fouls here in the second quarter.
At Fingers attack. Good. Pinisi. To Topez. Pero si Chunkee Valenzuela, tutulong na naman ang 3. Not there. Oh, the loose ball picked up by Enrique Villanueva. And there's a foul spotted by referee Blake Cruz. Lucky break here by the Red Bull.
You're correct, because there were 2 Purefoods players right underneath the basket, and Rico was able to get that basketball. Oh, the third personal on Mark Finger, so he's going to have to take a seat probably also.
Correction on the foul called by referees. The foul is on Richard Yee.
Okay, they just made a correction. It is Richard Yee who is called for the foul. His first. Shot by Enrique Villanueva. 9 points for the newlywed. One of those responsible for the big comeback by Red Bull in game number 5. And it closes the gap again here in the second quarter. Purefoods up by only 5 now. We have a 30-second timeout being called here, so we'll hang on to the edge. A big rally once again being mounted here by Red Bull Coach Norman. How do they do this?
Well, Enrico's been getting to the foul line. That's 4 for 4 for him in the second quarter from the free throw line, and I think they've done a better job. Red Bull has done a better job of shutting down the middle. I think Tennessee's size had a little bit to do with that. He was able to really get rid of those holes that seemed to be there in the first quarter as far as Red Bull's defense was concerned. And, you know, Purefoods, they're giving Red Bull the three-point shots. Red Bull has not really shot a very high percentage, but they've made enough to get back into this basketball game.
We have 3 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in the second quarter. And the lead has been cut down to only 5. One stood at 16 here in the first half. I think it's down at the very window. And Chunkee Valenzuela is not reaching in. Or was it? Yes, it was Chunkee.
I mean, 2 shots for Kirby Ramundo.
Nasa penalty na ang Red Bull on the second personal foul. Chunkee Valenzuela sa Kirby Raimundo is going to be awarded 2 shots.
In a game like this, in game 6, as Kirby misses the first shot, it's so important that Kirby Ramundo takes advantage of his size against Chunkee. I know Chunkee is a tough defender. He only stands about 6'1", 6'2". Kirby is 6'5", 6'6" player who likes to operate inside, so Kirby has to take advantage of that matchup.
65% free throw shooter. Kirby Raimundo misses both. Less than 3 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Nick Pinisi in the corner. Bringing it to Robinson. Robinson in and out of the paint. The bounce pass to Enrique Villanueva. Villanueva, matras naman kay Richard Yee. Hey! Tumulong si Mark Pingris, and a foul is going to be called. Let's see on whom. Looks like it's going to be on Pingris.
Number 15,
Mark Pingris, that's going to be number 3.
Yeah.
is third.
So it just took another minute or 2, but he eventually picks up that 3rd foul.
Ay pagkakari, yamin na po! Kita Northern Luzon. Kailangan, kakapisan. Gusto mo kayo lahat. Yan sa Magtangote. Ito po yung BBA at Rico Villanueva. Gawa sa Pilipinas. First shot. There we go. And he gets that too. At don't look now. It is down to a 3-point lead by Purefoods after leading by as many as 16 points. James Yap. Fingers. James Yap with the outside. And Kirby Raimundo with the offensive rebound. Balik-ulit kay James Yap. Tumaksak sa loob. Binigay kay Fingers. Fingers goes up. Wala pa rin. Loose ball. Chunkee Valenzuela. Napitawan. Nakuha ni Pinisi. Pinisi's pass. Naagaw. Nasita pa labas kay Roger Yap.
That was not a good outlet by Nick Pinisi.
Yeah.
Great defense by Nick Pinisi as he's been able to shut down that middle. That was great defense against Mark Pingris that time.
Tenacious move there by Nick Pinisi. And Topex Robinson actually slipped as he tried to get to the basketball. And that led Roger Yap to almost steal that pass. He's a big enough to the outside. Missed the shot. Pedro Mundo.
Purefoods running an ear play. Let's see what that is.
This is Richard D, top of the key, back to Pedro Mundo. And they slam the door on him, but he goes up anyway and scores.
That was against 3 people, so big shot there by Kirby Ramundo, whose team has really been struggling here in the second quarter.
And they lead by 5 now, 28-33. Nick Pinisi open. A goal. Richard D got as a rebound. At this point, Red Bull getting only one chance at the basket. And the Martin rebounding of Purefoods, serving for the Clips stand. Both ends of the court.
In isolation for Kirby Ramundo at the top.
There's Fingers against Pinisi. Oh, dalawa. Oh, bad pass. Pinasahan niya Kirby Ramundo na papasok mo si Bad Fingers. Paniro na kasi.
Si Fingers, malapit sa basket.
Yes, precisely.
May tira na, diba?
Oo. Panira na talaga yun. But he elected to pass off a shot, strong pass. And they turn it over. 38-33. 5-point lead by Purefoods. Nasa red ko ng bola. Perfect Robinson out to Villanueva. With a handoff to Chunkee. Chunkee fires. Could have been a 3-point play. He could pumasok.
James Yap could not stop his momentum as he ran into the legs of Chunkee. Good stop and pop there. He's going to get to the line for 2 shots. That's James Yap's first personal foul.
Pero sinabi natin kanina, over 12,000. By now, siguro mga at least 13,000 may tao rito. We're going up to the Raptors.
His team makes the first shot. And Coach Chunkee is really going to have to analyze what team he had on the floor that really played good defense, because the team he has out here right now has really put up a lot of stops here in this quarter.
Chunkee Venezuela, 1-2. At tumaligon ng dito pagod sa Pugo. Kaya sa Sumpo. Pugo. Ang tuloy nila. At Yap. James Yap lumalabas. Chunkee on top of it. James makes the baseline for Hugo. Nakapit ni Nick Pinisi pero napulot. Ikaw, Camacho. And here comes Enrique Villanueva. His side is back. We thought about it. Chunkee Venezuela. No. At the trap by Pedro Mundo.
Baggio's going to pick up the foul as maybe Red Bull is living and dying by this 3-point shot a little bit too much in here in the second quarter.
Unfortunately for them, they're down by only 4 now.
And the game is far from over, so if you don't really have a good look, you might as well set up, try to get the ball inside to Enrico. I know the emotions of the game take over.
Yeah.
Let's face it, Chunkee was wide open on that play.
He was. So Matala, situation. Gotta have Richard Yee at the line.
Don Camacho has seen some action for Purefoods here at the end of the first half.
That's correct. Richard Yee misses on the first. 63% free throw shooter. As you see some of the fans of Red Bull there, blazing yellow. Dami na kayo na dito.
Trying to distract Richard Yee.
It's all the tricks. But Richard Yee makes the second free throw anyway. And ups the lead of Purefoods up to 5 again at 39-34. Time for one last play, 14 seconds left here in the second quarter. Chunkee Venezuela trying to shake up James Yap. Venezuela. Back to Nick Pinisi, top of the 3-point shot. There you go, another 3-point attempt. Coach Norman, side is back with block underneath. Oh, you're right. Red Bull.